Carla says, my husband is a narcissist and I'm still with him. He minimizes my boundaries and justifies them all and calls me crazy. It gets me so mad. How can I make myself clear? So the problem with boundaries is, the challenge with boundaries, I should say, is that there tends to be like two parts to them. Like one is setting them, like the verbal part of like asserting yourself, right? But then in order for them to really be effective, there has to be some sort of consequence. It's sort of like with a child, right? If you say, you know, if you, I don't know, if you don't get at least all B's on your report card, then you can't go to, I don't know, I don't even know, then you can't play on the football team or something, right? Like, or if you come, here's a better example, because I don't like that example. Saying to a kid, okay, if you're not home by curfew, then you're going to be grounded, right? Or, and by grounded, I mean I'm taking away all technology for the next 48 hours, right? There's some sort of like if then, like if then statement. Like if you do this or if you don't do this, then this is going to happen. And in order for a child to take you seriously, sometimes they have to, they have to find out, like, yes, there is in fact a consequence. Like this thing will happen. Like mom's not joking around. Like she really means it. So if you're going to stay married to a highly manipulative person who doesn't respect boundaries, but there's no consequence, then there's no real motivation for him to try to respect boundaries. Like you will be forever drawing that line in the sand, right? So you're going to draw the line in the sand and say, I said, don't do this. And he's like, okay. And then he steps over the line in the sand and it's like, no, I said, like, this is a big deal for me. Don't do this. And he's like, okay. And then 2 weeks later, steps over the line in the sand. And it's sort of, at that point, you have to get clear with yourself what needs to happen here, because we can't change them. All you have the power over is changing you. This is not a communication issue. This is not a relationship issue. This is an individual issue that he has. So there's nothing you can't, like, it's, trying to explain the basics of adult behavior to another adult is problematic, and trying to continually explain, these are my boundaries, this is a problem, treat me with dignity and respect. Like these are conversations that, really people, they shouldn't even need to have, because it's the basics of adult behavior. But if you're finding yourself trying to draw these lines and say, like, I'm not okay with this, and they keep stepping over your limits, then at some point you have to think about, okay, where is my line in the sand with what's workable and what's deal breaker behavior? Because it's crazy making when, if you're trying to be solutions oriented, right? And you're trying to be like, okay, we're going to keep working on this. We're just going to keep working on this. But this other person doesn't care. Like they don't care about working on anything. They just want to do what they want to do. And they just want you to get off his back, right? Like he's like, I just want to live my life and just deal. Like you just deal with the consequences. That's a really hard marriage to be in. And, yeah. And how do you stay in something like that? I think at that point you're going to have to just pick and choose your battles and do what you need to do in order to stay safe and sane to the best of your ability. But I definitely, if a person's continuing to treat you with a lack of dignity and respect, I would do my best, as much as you possibly can, to just get your ducks in a row. Because if they're disrespecting you in one area, the odds are they're disrespecting you in multiple areas. So like the other gal was saying, she's trying to separate financially, that kind of stuff. I don't know. If it was me, if I felt stuck and had to stay in a relationship or a marriage where somebody was treating me with a lack of dignity and respect, especially if they were treating me with a lack of loyalty, or a lack of honesty, I would I would start opening up bank accounts. I would start separating my money. I would start getting them off of like the title of my car and off of my credit cards. And I would just start separating stuff, because the less power they have over, because that, I mean, you're, it can really be painting yourself into a corner, being in a relationship with somebody that they they have no desire to work as a team, because then they can up and leave, and they don't even look back, and then you're up a creek. So that might seem kind of extreme, but for those of us that have gone through this personality, it's not extreme. Lots of love to you guys. You are not alone. You are not crazy, and you really can move forward and heal from this.